Hello, everyone. This is Joe with Joe Talks, and today we are going to talk a little bit about the EV tax credits, and specifically the EV tax credits for 2024. So, we are making this video in March of 2024, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the details behind these tax credits that you may not be aware of, or that you may have be taking some things for granted and not be aware that there's some background requirements. And so I just want to go into those a little bit in detail and give everybody a heads up of what is out there and how to find these details and just a little bit of background. So one of the first things we're going to want to do is go in and do a internet search for just generally 2024 EV tax credits, and you're going to find a link to a website called fueleconomy.gov, and it's going to take you to this website right here. And if you notice, there's some general overview text, but over here on the right, there's some shortcuts to specifically EV tax credits for new vehicles and EV tax credits for used vehicles. And so click on either one of these right here, and it will open up a page. And so let's go in and let's look at EV tax credits for used vehicles first. So uh, one of the first things you're going to find, if we scroll up here to the top, is just a general overview. And then it gives you the option to select a few different things. The year, if you know specifically what car you want to get, you can kind of drill down. But if you want to get an overview of all the different cars, it kind of gives you a general list of all of the cars that qualify for this EV tax credit. And then you can also trim it down by all electric or plug-in hybrids or fuel cell vehicles. And here you see all of the different brands and the cars that qualify for this EV tax credit. And that's pretty straightforward, but what I want to do is scroll all the way down here to the bottom and where it mentions the requirements. And so this is where you need to look at your own personal situation and see if you specifically qualify for this EV tax credit. And so this EV tax credit is a $4,000 tax credit. And let's just take a quick look at these. So it says you have to be an individual who bought the vehicle for use, so not resale. So you can't be a used car dealer and get this credit. You cannot be the original owner, so it means you can't get the credit if you already own the car. You cannot be claimed as a dependent by another person. So this is one that you may not realize. So let's say, for example, you are a college student or something, and your parents are still claiming you on their taxes. Well, then you can't get this EV tax credit because you don't qualify because you are dependent on your parents' taxes. Now, your parents could probably buy the car for you, but just keep in mind, as an individual, you wouldn't qualify for this tax credit. And then it says, not have claimed another clean vehicle credit in the past 3 years prior to the purchase date. So basically, it just means you only get one credit. You can't go out and buy 2 or 3 EVs in the same year. You can only get one EV credit per person who's claiming the credit. So, and then the next one is kind of a big one. There is a income cap. So if you look at these, depending on how you file your income, if you're married filing jointly, or if you're head of household or an individual, there's some different limits. But if you see here, this is something that changed for 2024. So they've reduced this down to $150,000 per household if you're married filing jointly. So keep that in mind. If you got a couple of people that work and are making between 75 and 100,000 a year, the two people are in that marriage, if their combined income is greater than 150,000, you're not going to qualify for this tax credit. So keep that in mind. Now, that is not total gross income. That's your adjusted gross income. So keep that in mind. So you have to look on your tax return and look at, what's it say here, line 45, basically, to find your adjusted gross income. And the other thing it says is you can use either the year that you purchased the vehicle, your gross income, or the prior year, and it is whichever income is less. So if you look right here, it says this: if your income is below the threshold for one of the 2 years, you can claim the credit. So maybe last year you didn't make as much money, maybe you got a raise, but this year you went and bought the EV. It says here you can use your previous year's adjusted gross income. So keep that in mind. Now, one of the other things I want to mention, if you look through this list of cars that qualify for this credit, you're going to find that this is really kind of a misleading list of cars. And this is where, if you're one of those type of people that tends to be a little conspiracy theory here, a lot of this EV tax credit, I think, is meant to benefit certain manufacturers over others. I would suspect there was some lobbying going on in the background, because if you look through this list, obviously there's a lot of cars in here that qualify, but one of the other restrictions is that the car has to be at least 2 years old, and it's got to be $25,000 or less. So looking through this list, are you going to find an Audi that's $25,000? Probably not. Not going to find a Bentley. Probably not going to find a BMW that's $25,000. You might find an i3. But half these cars that are on this list, good luck finding one of those for $25,000. If maybe the Chevy Bolt really is the one on this entire list that you're going to find for less than $25,000. You might find a higher mileage Pacifica, Fiats. Yeah. Not going to find a Ford Lightning. You look at half these cars, half of them, you're never going to find a $25,000 car, right? A 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee for 25 grand. Yeah, right. Find me one of those and I'll buy every one of them that you can bring to me for 25 grand. That's in good condition. So anyway, you look through here, there's really only a handful of these cars that are going to fall under that $25,000 price range. So keep that in mind too as you're kind of looking through some of these. So that is the used car credit. Big thing is the income limit, and then the price of the car, and also the year of the car. So keep that in mind. And then if we click over here on the new car limits, you kind of get the same layout here. Kind of gives you an idea of what's available. One thing you'll notice right away, there's a lot fewer of the new cars that qualify. Prior to 2024, this list was, gosh, I don't know, twice as long probably. All of the Teslas qualified, all of the Fords qualified. But this year, it's really kind of a trimmed down version. Specifically, a lot of people are probably going to be interested in getting a Tesla. Well, keep in mind that just make sure that the Tesla you're interested in is on this list. And not only the version, but keep in mind here, like, for example, the Model 3, well, only the Model 3 Performance is on this list, right? So if you go get a Model 3 Long Range or Model 3 Standard, doesn't qualify. It's not on the list here. The ID4s, all of the Volkswagens, I think qualify. Again, obviously the Chevy Bolts all qualify. But you see here, the Ford Mustang is not on this list. Things like that. So just keep in mind, again, that the car that you're interested, make sure it's on the list. Your Hyundais are not on this list. Your Kias, they have some pretty good plug-in hybrids, but they're not on this list. So keep that in mind. As far as the requirements, if we come down here, it has that same tab that you can expand. Again, buy it for your own and not for resale. So no dealers. Primarily used in the U.S., so you can't live in Canada or Mexico and come over and buy one, which I guess you wouldn't be paying U.S. sales tax for that anyway. But as far as the income requirements, they jump up here. So you have a $300,000 joint cap. So keep that in mind. Some of those bump up. And then there's also cost. So some of these cars fall under, there's a couple of different ranges. One of them is a $55,000 max purchase price. and then there's some of them that fall under the $80,000 price. And so I think a lot of that is, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I think a lot of it has to do with the battery ranges on those. Again, you can read into some of that, uh, but the key thing, for each person, your own situation, uh, you really need to make sure that you understand the requirements and make sure that you meet those. And one of the other things you need to keep in mind is when you go and buy this car, you may not meet requirements, and your car dealership may not tell you. Like, even if they know, they may not tell you, right? Because car dealerships can be shady sometimes, and if they know that they can make a sale and kind of fool you into thinking you're getting a $4,000 or a $7,500 rebate, uh, they might give you that discount, and they might give you that discount at the point of sale because they're going to get their money from the government. But the problem is when you go to file your taxes and you don't meet the requirements, they're going to pull that money back out of your tax refund, or you could end up owing that money at the end of the year. So keep that in mind, that don't rely on your dealer to tell you if you qualify or not, because as far as they're concerned, that's between you and the government. That's not the dealership's responsibility. All they do is they check a box and they get paid. So uh, do your research and make sure you understand the requirements. So that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope this helps. I hope this maybe drives you to go in and investigate further. Again, don't rely on this video for your information. Go to that website, do your research, and if you need help, go talk to an accountant or someone. They could probably tell you if you're going to qualify or not. So anyway, I hope this video helps. And again, as always, please help me out. Subscribe to my channel. Trying to grow my channel right now, trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. So help me out. Subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Hit the like button and all that good stuff. And until the next video. All right. Thank you very much.